Hi there, Danny Flexen, and welcome to this week's edition of SecondsOut FLEXpectations. We're here every Thursday, 4:30 PM, to talk about the boxing action to come at the weekend. And this weekend, perhaps for the first time so far in 2020, we have a stacked show to talk about. 3 world titles on the line in Miami, and on a Thursday night, which means that this video loses some of its value. Some would say the value is limited anyway. But loses some of its value after the fights take place in the early hours of tomorrow. But we can't not preview it. It's a really good show, particularly 2 of the world title fights on the bill. But we're going to start with the nominal main event between Demetrius Andrade, the WBO middleweight champion, and Luke Keeler, plucky Irish challenger. Keeler's earned this shot, it has to be said. Came through some hairy moments to comprehensively outpoint Luis Arias back in August. Arias had only previously been defeated by the world-class Danny Jacobs, so there's no discounting that victory. And Keeler, previous to that, had won twice over a decent fighter in Conrad Cummings. He's worked his way up, he deserves his shot, but it's hard to see how he wins against a guy who, while he hasn't been tested by a very elite opponent just yet in Andrade, he has always looked a little bit special. 2-weight world champion. Probably biggest test of his career came 3.5 years ago when he dropped Willie Nelson 4 times and forced a last round stoppage. Hasn't really been tested since then. And it's difficult for him. I mean, he's a very, very slick, rangy, clever boxer with an underrated dig as well. And although Eddie Hearn's going on social media making offers to Charlo and then going on social media to prove he's made an offer to Charlo, for whatever reason, those big fights haven't come to fruition for Andrade. And obviously the fight with Billy Joe Saunders last year didn't quite happen, or was it the year before? Either way, didn't quite happen after Saunders failed that drug test. So it's not through lack of trying. He even went over to Germany when he was in a promotional flux and beat Jack Colkai over there, which is no mean feat. So there's no kind of reticence on Andrade's part, but he is probably the chairman now of the Who Needs Him Club, to coin an old phrase. I think he'll have too much skill, too much cunning, too much guile for Luke Keeler, although I wouldn't surprise me if the spirited Irishman manages to go the distance. 2 other world title fights on the bill are the ones that really intrigue me, and one of them is the IBF super featherweight champion Tevin Farmer, another kind of unsung hero in the Andrade mould, going up against Jojo Diaz in a battle of southpaws, very, very different southpaws, it has to be said. Farmer, who didn't have a long amateur career, really learned on the job and has turned his career around from a shaky start. Very slick, accurate punch picker, likes to dictate the pace and tends to manage to force other fighters to take him on in the manner that he enjoys. Against Jojo Diaz, who's more of a boxer puncher, was a 2012 Olympian, but has come out of that kind of stand-up technical mould a little bit, likes to get involved in a bit of a tear-up at times. He's going to find it difficult to draw Farmer into that sort of fight, but that's the sort of contest he needs it to be if he's going to come out victorious. Previous title attempt down at featherweight against another slick operator in Gary Russell Jr. Didn't get the job done, lost on points, but gave a really good account of himself, and maybe up at the extra weight he can go even better against Farmer, although my money is, for what it's worth, is on Farmer to once again retain. He just seems to have an edge over these guys who, while talented, have quite a predictable, I think it's fair to say, style. We really want to see him tested, whether it's at super feather or if he moves up to lightweight. But probably the best world title fight on the show is the unified super bantamweight champion, IBF WBA, Daniel Roman, who we haven't seen for about 9 months, I think it is now, since April last year when he unified the belts against TJ Dehaney. Close fight, that gripping fight to watch as well, and just managed to get past Dehaney, just had a little bit of extra class in that fight. Roman now defends against Muradon, I'm going to get this wrong, I know I am, Alek Mediev. I'm sure that's wrong because I read it about 3 times earlier and it doesn't sound like what I was reading. But either way, Uzbek, southpaw, world silver medalist, Olympic bronze medalist, great amateur pedigree, but I think he's only had 7 fights so far as a pro, all wins, 6 inside the distance, but no real kind of notable or meaningful opposition thus far. Still great amateur pedigree and clearly possesses power. Roman could be a bit rusty out the gate, having not fought since April, but tends to get the job done, and a fearless operator as well. He's won world title fights out in Japan a couple of times against Shun Kubo, Ryo Matsumoto. He's really coming into his own as a fighter. He seems to be approaching his prime now as well, and it's hard to see him losing, although the bookies have Alekmadiev, if that is his name, as the favourite in the fight, which is a bit of a surprise. I think Roman to win on points is available at 10-3, which, you know, if you can get those odds, I'd recommend them, to be honest. The risk of having egg on my face tomorrow morning, but it should be a really good fight. You know, you've got the kind of intelligent pressure of Roman against the power and stand-up fundamentals, excellent fundamentals of the Uzbek, which I'll probably just call him from now on so I don't get his name wrong again. Yeah, probably the best fight on the bill, and I'm really looking forward to watching it. Now, if you're looking for an expert opinion on the two YouTubers on the bill, Jake Paul and AnEsonGib, can't really tell you too much, but you should look on our website, SecondsOut.com, as Peter Lewington does know a bit about these YouTube fighters. He's created the YouTube Fighter Rank, which you should probably have a look at as well. But if you have a look on our website, he's written a number of articles about the fight, which for some people in the YouTube community will be the actual main event. Have a look at those, because I really don't have a clue, apart from, you know, Jake Paul's Logan's brother and the other guys from Britain. There you go. That's the sort of expert insight and analysis you come to Seconds Out for. So you're welcome for that. But let us know what you think is going to be the fight of the night out of those 3 world title fights, and give us your predictions. Who's going to win and how? So stoppage or points in all 3 fights. If someone gets all 3 right with the methods of victory, I'll see if I can find some I'll see if I can find some sort of prize for you. So let me know in the comments. It'll be worth your time. I'll speak to you all again soon, but I really appreciate your time, and I'll be back next week, 4:30 PM for the next FLEXpectations, Monday, 4:30 PM for Reflections. Thanks very much, and I'll see you all soon.